Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about Megalopolis. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. So, this movie is made by the one and only Francis Ford Coppola. And if you know anything about film, you've definitely heard of this man before. Yeah, this man is responsible for creating some of the most acclaimed movies ever made. He is responsible for The Godfather Part 2, Apocalypse Now, movies that, well, apparently, initially when they released, they weren't received the greatest, but over time they became known as classics. Right? So yeah, those three movies are like his most important by far and away. And then after that, The Godfather Part 3, we don't really talk about that. Bram Stoker's Dracula was a hit. Its reputation is kind of a bit mediocre, like good in some aspects, bad in some others. The bad was mainly Keanu Reeves. Oh, but he got like torn apart for his performance. Granted, I've never seen the movie, so I can't say how bad he was, but apparently he was real bad. Um, and then after that is not much else, but yeah, Francis Ford Coppola, he's made three iconic movies. So that's a pro in a way, but there's also a con to him that I might as well talk about now. Let's go right back to him just to get it over with. But yeah, like after like Apocalypse Now, it just like I don't know, he just kind of like stopped. He stopped like making like really like great stuff or really like noteworthy stuff. Godfather Part 3 is widely considered to be like a big disappointment. Didn't help that the man put his daughter, Sofia Coppola, in the movie, and she got trashed because of it. Because apparently her performance was ass. But ultimately, she became a really good director. So, it all worked out in the end. But yeah, Godfather Part 3, that was not good. Bram Stoker's Dracula was a financial hit, not really like a critical darling, really. Jack, okay. Of all the Francis Ford Coppola movies, this is the only one I've seen. I'm dead serious when I say that. I never seen the Godfather movies, never seen Apocalypse Now, but I've seen Jack. And I only saw it like recently, like a few weeks ago. Like I was on Disney Plus, I was scrolling, and then I saw it there, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Never seen a Francis Ford Coppola movie before. I guess this is going to be my first, and so I watched the movie, and let me tell you, Jack is just a weird movie because I don't know who it's for. I don't know who the audience is because it's too kiddie for adults, but it's too immature. It's too inappropriate for children, and teens wouldn't give a shit about it. So, like, who is it for? Honestly, and just has a lot of weird moments that just make me just uncomfortable. That just have this icky feeling to them. Jack is just a weird mistake that never should have been made. And I love Robin Williams. Okay, R.I.P. to him. Like he was fantastic, but this movie it just wasn't it. It was not his finest hour. Let's just say that. But then after Jack, The Rainmaker, that didn't really go anywhere. Then Supernova really didn't go anywhere. A huge flop. And then he kind of stopped making like big-ish movies or like, you know, yeah, really big-ish movies after that until Megalopolis. So, yeah, his reputation, he's made some classics, but after said classics, he didn't make anything that was like super noteworthy. It's been like decades since he's been able to make a movie that was like a hit. So, Yeah, that's not great. So let's just say his name is mediocre. Has some good and some bad to it. Another pro is that this movie has a cast, a very noteworthy cast, a lot of recognizable names. The main face being Adam Driver, Kylo Ren right here. And I'm not gonna go over everyone because that would take too long. But yeah, Adam Driver. Uh, I can never pronounce this dude's name. It's Gus from Breaking Bad. But he's so cool. But it's the same. Like I botch his name. Like I'm gonna try. It's like I can't say it. I'm sorry. You got Gus from Breaking Bad, Audrey Plaza. You got Shia LaBeouf. You got John Voight, Lawrence Fishburne, Dustin Hoffman, I guess. So you have some recognizable people in here. Although some of these people are, I guess they've been like canceled to a degree. Like Dustin Hoffman's been like pretty much canceled. From what I've read, apparently there's like some lawsuit or something going on with him. I know there's a lawsuit with Shia LaBeouf with like him and like his ex girlfriend. Like she's accused of him being like abusive. Not a great look at all. Not exactly something you want a movie to be like associated with. And then John Voight, I mean, I don't. Angelina Jolie's dad. I mean, like I don't even know where to begin with him. Like he's just, I don't even know. But you do have like a decent amount of recognizable faces, so I'm gonna label that as a pro. It's barely a pro, but I'm gonna label it a pro anyway. Um, is that it? I think that's it with pros. Okay, cons. Oh boy, this movie has been surrounded, just drowning in controversy. Like, it's so much, it's kind of insane. But, uh, yeah, there's just so much going on. um, there's like several, I don't even know where to start, really. I mean, I guess I can mention how this movie was self-funded by Coppola himself. He spent 120 million of his own money on this. Apparently, he sold a portion of his winery to fund this thing because this was a big old passion project for him for decades. This man wanted to make this movie so bad that he was like, you know what, I'm gonna spend my own money to make it happen. And yeah, so like there's that little fact, but that's the least of this movie's problems. Apparently, the visual effects team and the art department they all like walked. Apparently, because I'm reading here on Wikipedia, it says Coppola adopted an experimental style that permitted improvisation, yeah, improv during the shoot by letting actors write scenes and himself make spontaneous changes to the script. So, yeah, the fact that the whole VFX team just dipped and left, that is that's not normal. That is not normal at all. So that's a bad sign. And it says filming allegedly wrapped ahead of schedule. That's also unusual. Usually it's like right on time or late as hell. Never like before it's supposed to happen. Like the only time I remember a movie where it filmed like filming was finished before a schedule was like Batman Robin. So that's not great. And apparently when this movie premiered at Cannes Film Festival, it had a really lackluster reaction. But then a lot of distributors just didn't want to touch this thing because apparently Coppola was like unreasonable with his demands, but eventually Lionsgate got the distribution rights. But that's not even the worst of it. So it was a few months ago, I think, a trailer for this popped up that had like a lot of quotes. I'm using air quotes when I say the word quotes from where it talked about all these, people saw like negative things about The Godfather and Apocalypse Now back then, and now they're seen as classics. Turns out the quotes used in that trailer were fake. They were false. They never existed ever. And yeah, yeah, so that was real interesting. And like the specific um let me see. Yeah, the yeah, oh yeah, this was only a month ago. Okay. So the trailer had like negative reviews for like Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and Bram Stoker's Dracula, and like Lawrence Fishburne said like true genius is often misunderstood. And turns out all of these were fake. Um and it's to the point where Lionsgate took down the trailer like the same day they published it on YouTube, and they issued like an apology for it where they're like, we messed up. And they actually, name dropped the employee who did it, and they fired him. And because apparently he may have been using some like chat GPT, some AI to like create these quotes. And it was just really weird. Like you never see something like this, like ever with a trailer. Like it's like pulled because people use fake quotes on it. Like it's just so weird. And yeah, yeah. Uh, so there was that. And there's the fact that Variety they put out an article about some allegations of like misconduct towards like Coppola that he apparently did. I'm not gonna say he did or didn't legally, but this is what was alleged. Like he was just, you know, doing some bad stuff and just acting like weird. And Coppola actually sued Variety for this. He put out a lawsuit against them. I think it was like for $15 million. So that happened. And like this, the way the movie looks, like the trailer, which I saw like a few times, but the most recent time was like right before The Substance. The trailer was just like, what am I even looking at? What am I supposed to get out of this at all? So if the marketing, everything around this movie is just weird. Something just felt very off about everything. Just like all this different stuff. So yeah, all the controversy surrounding this movie, it's not the type of controversy that creates cash. It's the type of controversy that makes people like curious, but not curious enough to pay to see the movie. So yeah, all the controversy surrounding this movie, I'm gonna label it as a con. Another con, I guess I can mention the marketing for this movie. It's just, well, I already mentioned the infamous trailer with the fake quotes, but just the marketing. It's just like, what am I supposed to get out of this? Like I saw a trailer before, as I mentioned, trailer before The Substance. Saw it, and I'm just like, what am I looking at? What am I supposed to get out of this? What's happening? What's the plot? What's going on? The movie gave me no reason to give a shit about it. Like no reason at all. So you literally failed at your job of marketing. So yeah, just lackluster marketing. That's a con. Um Another con I can think of is it's just, well, I can mention, let's talk about his reviews. Let's talk about his reviews. Because when it, as I mentioned, it premiered at Cannes, and the reviews were real, just blah, real blah, and they haven't gotten any better. It's still at 50% critic score, which is not good enough to really sell it. But what's really gonna kill this movie is its audience score. It's a 45%. 45%. I don't. It's not too often I see an audience score that low for a movie, but with Cinema Score, it gets worse. It got a D plus, a D plus. I've only seen a D Cinema Score 3 times this year, just 3 times. Like there's like the Exorcism, there's Borderlands, now there's Megalopolis. A D plus. That is death. That is beyond abysmal. Like that's ugh. That is just something. But I need to read these audience reviews. I want to know what the vibe is. Um. Okay, I'm gonna read some 5-star reviews and some like half-star slash 1-star reviews. So a 4-star review says, visually stunning, great sound design, fantastic allegory for the basic conflicts and contradictions of contemporary America. The acting is very good across the board. Adam Driver is amazing. Half star, awful movie, wooden acting, terrible soundtrack, but tries to be deep, throwing in some Shakespeare and Marcus Aurelius quotes. Total pretentious, boring garbage. We got another 5-star. Brilliant. This is true art, a level above the linear storyline we are accustomed to and expect in movies. This one requires thought and perspective. Think more along the lines of Orson Welles and Bonal. Coppola has earned his place with these giants. 1-star. If you are looking for a bizarre hodgepodge, ridiculous waste of actors' talent and your time and money, then this is the movie for you. I knew we were in trouble when Adam Driver, cape swirling, launched into a Shakespearean zoology. People got up and left. My husband took a nap. I kept checking my watch. I simply endured this movie. Oh boy. There's another half star. It says I walked out, and I've never walked out of a movie before. 0 stars. 2 stars. This movie tried too hard and didn't know what it wanted to be. A bit pretentious. Another half star. Confusing, boring, weird, and disorganized movie that tries to teach that a utopian society is better than a dystopian society. Who know? Who knew? Ugh. Uh. Let me see. This is like 5 stars. Constantly, you always feel like you're seeing the same movie over and over again. Like Hollywood has just plain given up on new ideas. I'm just like, okay, that's kind of true to an extent, but you have something like The Substance, a movie that's real crazy, and it takes like a somewhat familiar premise and does it in a way that I've never seen before. So I guess you're just not paying attention to like all the smaller movies out there. But anywho. So Megalopolis absolutely crushes this trend and is one of the most different, unique, and even inspiring movies you will watch in the 21st century. I'm like, um, 1 star. The crowning moment of perhaps the most extravagant artistic fall from grace ever, laid bare on the canvas of history. A former master unsheathing his boring, artless drivel on a landscape of cinema in dire need of the type of director he used to be. Nothing more than the skeleton of a former artist remain. I like how that's written. um, but yeah, word of mouth is ass. It's beyond ass. It's wretched. So yeah, lackluster critic score, awful audience score, awful cinema score. That's a huge con, an enormous con right there. Um, Another con is that, let's see, it's Thursday previews. Well, this included apparently like 300K from like earlier previews, so it's really like 400K in previews. But 770K, I mean, that's not great at all. I mean, it's not something I would be like super proud of, but yeah, like even if this was just Thursday, it still doesn't paint a pretty picture for this movie, especially considering how word of mouth is what it is. So yeah, lackluster Thursday preview. That's a con. Another con is that there's too many movies coming out this weekend. The only movie coming out that has a pulse is The Wild Robot, which is actually, from what I've seen, is doing pretty darn well. Everything else is just there to die. So, and this is definitely going to be one of those movies. So, yeah, too many movies out right now. That's a con. And yeah, I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it. Yeah. So opening weekend, from my early numbers, from what I've seen, this is projected to hit da, 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 somewhere in the realm of like 2 to 5 million. I'm gonna say like 4 to 5 million. I'm gonna go with that. It's total. There's no way in hell this movie's gonna have good legs. With the word of mouth as is, I have a feeling this might have a catastrophic second weekend. We're talking like 70% plus decline. I feel like its legs are gonna be about as bad as Borderlands. Oh, I forgot to mention Lionsgate. Holy shit! How can I forget about them? Let's talk about Lionsgate, because goddamn, talk about a disastrous year. I mean, this year, their highest grossing movie is The Strangers Chapter 1 with 35 million. That should tell you all you need to know right there. But the past few weeks, ever since August, it's been just non-stop L's for Lionsgate. Just non-stop. I mean, from Borderlands to The Crow to Killer's Game to Never Let Go, all flopping out there, all doing terrible. And Megalopolis is going to join them right there. It's just going to join the club. And it's just, apparently a lot of these movies were from like the previous administration or the previous like head of the company. I feel like they're just trying to like get rid of these movies, just release them and never think about them ever again. I feel like that's what's going on. But what a weird way to do it, especially like it's all rapid fire like this. Because damn well that poor marketing team, they are stretched thin. Like you cannot release all these movies at once and expect to have a solid marketing campaign for like any of them. That's just not possible. So all these movies, like Lionsgate's pretty much screwing over themselves doing this. So yeah. You got Lionsgate con right there. But anywho, yeah, I think its legs it's gonna hit less than 10 million. I refuse to believe it's gonna have a long life. I refuse to believe this movie's gonna be like seen as a classic in like 20 years. I don't think so. I don't think it will. So yeah. That was Megalopolis. We got 3 more movies to talk about. We got My Old Ass, Vindicating Trump, and The Wild Robot. So yeah, stay tuned for those videos. But yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. We'll check out more videos like this. I got playlists on the homepage, all previous prediction videos I made this year, the past few years. You want to watch any of them, any of those videos, you can go right ahead. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. Megalopolis. Have I ever talked about Megalopolis with my canceled series? I have. Okay, I have one time. It was the last episode. Awesome. So episode 250, I talked about Megalopolis alongside the new Exorcist movie from Mike Flanagan, the new Jordan Peele movie, the F1, and Trap. And that's it. So this was the last episode I made for canceled. Part of me wishes I made 251 just to talk about Shrek 5, but you know what? That opportunity has sailed, so, whatever. 250 is fine. I'm cool with it. But yeah, that's the one time I talked about Megalopolis. So if you want to watch any of the past any of the past 250, all 250 episodes of Canceled and want to binge them all from beginning to now, I highly encourage you to do that. So go do it. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. Just in my summer recap, my two-parter that's on the channel now. September recap won't be till like between the 4th and 11th of October, so stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.